I moved into a new home, and every neighboring woman welcomed me as if they'd been expecting me. The thought of quiet mornings, a space to think, and no one barging into his kitchen excited him more than he expected. He didn't know it yet, but this move would change his life in ways he couldn't even imagine. The neighborhood was unlike any he had seen before. Nestled at the edge of the city, it looked almost timeless. Clean streets stretched out in perfect symmetry, lined with neat houses that gleamed under the morning sun. The gardens were carefully maintained, each one boasting flowers of vibrant colors that seemed to bloom perfectly, almost unnaturally so. As he drove down the street with his moving van, he noticed a pattern. Every house had a small, peculiar device near the entrance. It was subtle, almost like a tiny orb or sensor, but it pulsed softly, catching the light in a strange way. He shrugged it off, thinking it was probably some high-tech security system. By mid-morning, Rohan had unloaded the last of his boxes into the modest two-story house he had bought. The interior smelled faintly of fresh paint and polished wood. He walked through the empty rooms, imagining the life he could build here, a quiet sanctuary, a place where he could finally focus on his writing and research. No sooner had he finished arranging his desk than he heard a soft knock on the door. Startled, he hurried to open it, expecting perhaps a neighbor bringing a welcome card or a simple introduction. Instead, he found a woman standing there, smiling warmly. She was dressed casually, with a light scarf around her neck, and her eyes had a strange familiarity. "Hello," she said. "You must be Rohan. I've been expecting you." Rohan blinked. I don't think we've met before." She chuckled softly as if sharing a private joke. "Not yet, but it doesn't matter. Come in sometime soon. We're all very glad you're here." And with that, she turned and walked down the path to the next house. Rohan closed the door slowly, his mind racing. Was that normal? Did neighbors usually greet newcomers like this, almost as if they knew him beforehand? He shook his head. Maybe he was overthinking it. By the afternoon, 3 more women had stopped by. Each greeted him in the same warm, almost rehearsed way. "We were waiting for you," they said. One of them even offered a plate of fresh cookies. Another invited him to a small neighborhood gathering in her garden the next evening. Rohan couldn't help but notice something peculiar. Despite the casual appearance, their eyes seemed unusually attentive, almost as if they were analyzing him. And the way they spoke, carefully chosen words, gentle smiles, a rhythm to their gestures, it felt strangely orchestrated. Curiosity got the better of him. After the last visitor left, he began walking around the neighborhood, trying to understand what was going on. The streets were quiet, almost eerily so. Not a single child played outside, no pets ran along the lawns. Even the air seemed unusually still. The houses all looked similar, each with those small glowing orbs near the doors. As he walked past the last house, a faint vibration under his feet caught his attention. It was subtle, like the ground itself was humming. He bent down to look at the device by the doorstep. It pulsed gently, in perfect sync with his own heartbeat. He straightened up, feeling a shiver run down his spine. "Hello, Rohan." He spun around. The woman from earlier was standing at the edge of her garden, hands folded, watching him. There was no fear in her voice, only calm certainty. "Do you know me?" he asked, his voice cautious. "In a way," she replied. "We've been waiting for someone like you. It's time you understood why." Rohan felt a strange mix of excitement and apprehension. He had moved into a quiet neighborhood expecting peace and solitude, but this was something else entirely. Over the next few days, he began to notice patterns. Whenever he stepped outside, one of the women seemed to appear somewhere in the vicinity, a garden, the mailbox, or even just across the street, seemingly tending to flowers. Their timing was impeccable, almost as if they had anticipated his every move. He decided to test it. One morning, he walked to the far end of the street, pretending to ignore the houses on his side. Within minutes, a woman appeared in a nearby garden, waving casually. His heart raced. It was impossible. How could they always be there? That evening he sat in his living room, staring at the walls lined with boxes he hadn't yet unpacked. He wondered if he had made a mistake moving here, but curiosity outweighed fear. He needed to know the truth. Rohan set up a small camera near the front door, pointing it towards the street. He left the recording running overnight, then reviewed the footage the next morning. What he saw made him freeze. The women moved with almost unnatural precision. They didn't just walk. Their movements were perfectly coordinated, almost like a dance. And sometimes he could swear the tiny devices near their doors pulsed in response to their gestures, as if some hidden system was guiding them. He leaned back, rubbing his eyes. This couldn't be real. Maybe he was tired, maybe imagining patterns in coincidence, but the evidence was right there on the screen. The next day, another woman approached him, this time carrying a small device resembling a tablet. "I thought you might like to see this," she said, handing it over. On the screen was a 3D map of the neighborhood with tiny pulses indicating movement. Rohan's pulse quickened. "This is some kind of monitoring system?" he asked. She smiled gently. "Not monitoring, guidance. We help each other. We've been preparing for someone like you, someone who can understand and appreciate what humanity is capable of when it works together." Rohan felt a thrill of excitement mixed with unease. He had moved here expecting quiet days and simple peace. Instead, he had stumbled into a secret society, one that seemed advanced beyond his understanding. That night, as he lay in bed, his mind refused to quiet. He thought about the women, the devices, the perfect timing, and the strange humming under his feet. Something was happening here, and he was at the center of it. For the first time in years, he felt a sense of purpose. The final moment of the evening came as he checked his smart home interface one last time. A message flashed on the screen. "We knew you would come." "Are you ready to see why?" Rohan stared at it, his heart racing. The quiet neighborhood, the perfect gardens, the welcoming smiles, nothing had been random. Everything was connected, waiting for him. He didn't know what would happen next, but he knew one thing. Life in this neighborhood was about to be unlike anything he had ever imagined. For the first time, he felt the thrill of a mystery he was not only part of, but perhaps central to. And in that moment, Rohan realized he had stepped into something far bigger than himself. The next morning, Rohan woke up with a mix of excitement and unease. The message on his smart home interface had not left his mind. "We knew you would come. Are you ready to see why?" It was a puzzle, a challenge, and perhaps an invitation. He had no idea what to expect, but something inside him pushed him forward. After a quick breakfast, he decided to step outside. The sun was higher now, and the neighborhood seemed even more perfect than yesterday. The grass glistened with dew, and the flowers' colors seemed almost brighter, as if the world itself had been designed to welcome him. As he walked toward the end of the street, he noticed one of the women from yesterday waiting near a garden gate. She smiled warmly. "Good morning, Rohan," she said. "We thought you might like a tour." "A tour?" he asked, curious. "Of the neighborhood," she nodded. "Of what we do here. You're not here by chance. There is a purpose to your arrival. Come with me and you'll understand more." Rohan hesitated. Part of him wanted to decline and retreat into his house, to pretend this was all a dream. But another part, the part that had always been curious, adventurous, and determined, pushed him to follow. The woman led him through a narrow path between two houses, and soon they reached a small, hidden garden at the back of a property. It was beautiful, but there was something unusual about it. Small devices similar to the orbs near the doors hovered subtly among the flowers, pulsing softly in sync with the plant's growth. "This is just a small example," the woman said. "We use technology and careful observation to help our community grow stronger. We work together in ways the outside world doesn't even imagine." Rohan looked around, fascinated. The garden was alive in a way he had never experienced. Flowers seemed to open as he approached, and the air was filled with a soft hum like a hidden heartbeat. "You mean you all control this?" he asked, a little awed. The woman smiled. "We guide it, we guide each other, and soon you will learn to do the same." Over the next few days, Rohan received more invitations. One woman invited him to a room filled with glowing panels and small robotic devices, each performing tasks with incredible precision. Another showed him a lab where tiny drones mapped entire gardens and measured plant growth in real time. Each encounter revealed a new piece of the neighborhood's secret. The women were not just friendly neighbors, they were part of a carefully organized network. They combined human intuition with technology in ways that seemed almost magical. Yet, what fascinated Rohan most was how they treated him. They didn't just share information, they tested him. One evening, he was presented with a challenge, a holographic map of the neighborhood, overlaid with data from the devices, showing energy usage, plant growth, and human movement patterns. "You see patterns," one of the women said, "but can you improve them? Can you make our system more efficient without disrupting balance?" Rohan studied the map, feeling both pressure and excitement. He realized that every choice he made could affect the entire neighborhood's harmony. After an hour of thinking, he suggested a new sequence for the drones, optimizing their paths to reduce overlap and conserve energy. The women watched silently, then smiled. "You see connections we did not expect," one of them said. "This is what we need: fresh eyes, a human mind that doesn't just follow rules but creates new solutions." Rohan felt a thrill. He had come to this neighborhood seeking quiet and solitude, but now he was at the center of something extraordinary. He was not just a visitor. He was part of a system, a puzzle, a carefully planned experiment that relied on human ingenuity. The next day, the women invited him to a small gathering in a large garden behind one of the houses. The space was open, with soft lights floating above, casting a warm glow. They had prepared small tables with interactive displays, showing how their technology worked to improve daily life, health, and even local weather control. As Rohan moved from table to table, he realized something astonishing. The women had created a hidden model of the perfect human community. It combined science, empathy, strategy, and observation in ways he had never imagined. They were experimenting with humanity itself, what people could become when given knowledge, freedom, and guidance. One woman approached him and handed a small device. "This is yours," she said. "It will help you learn and participate. You will begin to see what we see. And if you choose to stay, you will become part of something larger than yourself." Rohan held the device, feeling its soft weight. It pulsed faintly, as if alive. He turned it over, examining the tiny interface. Every option, every pattern seemed to respond to his touch. It was unlike any technology he had ever used. As the evening progressed, Rohan noticed the women talking quietly among themselves, sometimes glancing his way. It was clear they were evaluating him, not just observing. Every smile, every gesture seemed designed to teach, encourage, or challenge. At one point, the woman who had first greeted him in the neighborhood stepped forward. "Rohan," she said, her voice calm but firm, "you have a choice. You can leave and return to ordinary life. Or you can stay, learn, and help guide this community. You have already shown that your mind is capable of seeing what others might miss. But the next step requires more than observation. It requires action." Rohan felt a surge of excitement. He had moved here for peace, but now he realized that peace was not the goal. Understanding, growth, and contribution were. He wanted to be part of this hidden world, to discover what humans could accomplish when curiosity and intelligence were valued above all else. The woman smiled, as if she had anticipated his thoughts. "Then you will begin tomorrow," she said. "We have prepared lessons for you, practical, challenging, and revealing. You will see what it means to be part of a network of humans who think, adapt, and innovate together." That night, as Rohan lay in bed, he thought about the events of the day. He had come to this neighborhood expecting quiet streets and friendly smiles. Instead, he had found a hidden society, one that blended technology, intelligence, and human creativity in ways that seemed almost magical. He could not stop thinking about the garden, the drones, the devices, and the patterns he had observed. But more than anything, he thought about the women, their intelligence, their patience, and their ability to see potential where others might see only ordinary life. Rohan realized that this neighborhood was not just a place to live. It was a classroom, a laboratory, and a proving ground, and he was at the center of it. The next morning he woke early, his mind buzzing with anticipation. He dressed quickly and stepped outside. The sun shone brightly, and the air was filled with the scent of flowers. He felt ready for whatever lessons awaited him. The woman who had first invited him greeted him with a smile. "Today we begin," she said. "Are you ready?" Rohan nodded, feeling a sense of determination he had never experienced before. "Yes," he said, "I'm ready." As they walked toward the hidden garden, Rohan felt a thrill of excitement. He did not know what challenges lay ahead, but he knew one thing. He was about to discover the true potential of human intelligence, creativity, and collaboration. And for the first time in his life, he felt that he had truly found a place where he belonged. Rohan woke up before sunrise, the quiet of the neighborhood more alive than ever. Even at this early hour, he felt the sense of purpose that had begun to grow inside him. Yesterday had been a whirlwind, the garden lessons, the drones, the patterns, and the first real tests of his understanding. But today, he had a feeling that something bigger was about to unfold. He stepped outside, the cool morning air brushing against his skin. Across the street, he saw the woman who had first welcomed him, standing silently near her garden. She waved him over. "Good morning, Rohan," she said, her voice calm but carrying an intensity he could not ignore. "Today, we will reveal the reason you are here. Not just the lessons, not just the tests, but the truth of our community." Rohan's heart raced. He had sensed that there was more behind their welcoming smiles, more than advanced gardening or technology. He followed her to a part of the neighborhood he had not explored before. A hidden courtyard between two houses, larger than any garden he had seen, filled with soft, glowing lights hovering just above the ground. "This," she said, sweeping her hand toward the space, "is the heart of what we are building. You have seen pieces of it already, the drones, the maps, the systems. But there is a bigger purpose, one that extends far beyond this neighborhood." Rohan looked around, confused. "Beyond this neighborhood? You mean the city?" She shook her head. "Beyond the city, beyond the world you know. We are part of a secret network, a group of humans working together to prepare for challenges that most people cannot even imagine. We anticipate problems before they happen, we design solutions before they are needed, and we train minds to think in ways that others cannot. And now we are evaluating you." Rohan felt a mix of awe and disbelief. "Evaluating me? But why me?" "Because," she said, "you are different. You notice patterns, you question things, and you solve problems in ways that others do not. You have curiosity, creativity, and adaptability, qualities that are rare and precious. You have been chosen because we believe you can contribute to the next stage of human development." As they spoke, more women joined them in the courtyard, each carrying a small device or tablet. They moved with precision, their actions coordinated without a word. The atmosphere was serene, yet charged with energy, as if the space itself was alive. One of the women activated a large holographic display in the center of the courtyard. It showed the neighborhood in 3 dimensions, with layers of information overlaying the streets, houses, gardens, and devices. Small glowing lines connected each house, each orb, each drone, forming a complex network that pulsed with light. "This is the neural map of our community," the first woman explained. "Every device, every sensor, every action is connected. We monitor patterns, optimize systems, and guide growth, both of our environment and of ourselves. But it is more than technology. It is a way to enhance human potential, to see what humans can accomplish when we combine intellect, intuition, and collaboration. Rohan stepped closer, fascinated. He noticed subtle patterns in the holographic lines, movement, timing, and connections that he had never imagined. "It's beautiful," he said, "and complicated, but why hide it? Why not share it with the world?" Another woman smiled. "The world is not ready. People often fear what they do not understand. Our work must remain hidden until humanity can handle it responsibly. But we also need guides, humans like you who can see possibilities where others see obstacles." Rohan felt a thrill of excitement. He had moved here seeking a quiet life, but he had stumbled into something extraordinary. He was not just a resident. He was being invited to participate in shaping humanity's future. One of the women tapped on her device, and a holographic image of a distant planet appeared above the courtyard. Its surface was covered with patterns, structures, and glowing networks. "This," she said, "is one of the worlds we are preparing for. Humans will expand beyond Earth. We anticipate challenges, unknown dangers, and complex problems. And we need humans who can think creatively, adapt quickly, and work together. Humans who can make decisions no algorithm can fully predict." Rohan stared at the planet, feeling a mixture of wonder and responsibility. "You're preparing humans for space?" he asked. "Yes," she said, "but not just for survival, for growth, for leadership. We are proving that humanity is capable of more than anyone has imagined. And you, Rohan, are part of that proof." The realization struck him like lightning. This was bigger than the neighborhood, bigger than the city, bigger than Earth itself. He had been chosen not by chance but because of qualities that were uniquely human: curiosity, adaptability, empathy, and creativity. The woman who had first welcomed him stepped closer. "We will show you more," she said. "But first, you must understand the philosophy behind our work. Human potential is not limited by technology, rules, or boundaries. It is defined by imagination, ingenuity, and the ability to act where others hesitate. We guide our systems, but the humans, the minds, are the true force." Rohan nodded, feeling a deep sense of purpose. For years, he had sought meaning in quiet routines and small achievements. Now, he understood that he had been preparing for this moment without even realizing it. Over the next few hours, the women guided him through several demonstrations. He learned how the drones mapped gardens and optimized energy usage, how sensors collected data on growth patterns and movement, and how subtle adjustments could create harmony throughout the neighborhood. But the most impressive demonstration came when they presented him with a challenge. A sudden disruption appeared in the system. A simulated energy shortage caused the holographic network to flicker and shift. "You must find a solution," one of the women said. "Use your mind. Use what you've learned. Restore balance without damaging the system." Rohan examined the holographic network, his mind racing. He noticed small inefficiencies in the drone paths, overlapping sensor readings, and energy flows that could be redirected. Carefully, he adjusted the nodes, reprogrammed the drone schedules, and optimized the energy distribution. As the network stabilized, the women watched silently. Then, one by one, they smiled. "You see possibilities we did not anticipate," one said. "You have the ability to enhance systems not just with knowledge but with insight. This is why you are here." Rohan felt a surge of pride and excitement. He had expected simple lessons, but now he was contributing in a meaningful way. He was part of something bigger, something that relied on human intelligence, creativity, and unpredictability, qualities no machine could fully replicate. That evening, the women gathered around him in the courtyard. "Rohan," the first woman said, "you understand now. This neighborhood, these lessons, this system, they are all part of a preparation. Humans must be ready for challenges beyond our world, challenges that will test every quality that makes us human, and you are among the first to see what is possible. Rohan felt a deep sense of connection. The women had welcomed him not just as a neighbor, but as a participant in humanity's next stage. He realized that every interaction, every test, every lesson had been designed to bring out the very best in him. As he lay in bed that night, he thought about the holographic network, the distant planet, and the hidden society that had chosen him. He understood now that his life would never be the same. He had moved into a neighborhood expecting quiet and solitude, but he had found purpose, challenge, and a glimpse of humanity's future. And for the first time, Rohan felt truly alive. Rohan awoke to the soft hum of the neighborhood. The quiet streets, the glowing orbs, the perfectly tended gardens, all seemed unchanged. Yet he sensed that today would be different. He had spent the last few days learning, observing, and understanding the hidden patterns of the community. Today, the women had said, he would face his first real challenge. He dressed quickly and stepped outside, the morning sun warming his skin. One of the women approached him, holding a small device that pulsed faintly with light. "Good morning, Rohan," she said. "Are you ready for your first test?" Rohan nodded, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. "Yes, I'm ready." She led him through the neighborhood, past the familiar streets and gardens, to a large building at the far end of the block. The structure was unlike any other house he had seen. It was sleek, modern, and filled with soft lights that seemed to follow his movements. Inside, the air was cool, and the room was empty except for a central holographic display. As he approached, the lights flickered on, revealing a complex simulation, a miniature city with moving vehicles, energy networks, and human activity patterns. "This is your challenge," the woman said. "The simulation represents a real-world problem. Resources are limited, systems are failing, and decisions must be made quickly. Your task is to restore balance, maintain harmony, and ensure the survival of the community. You may use the tools, but the solutions must come from you." Rohan's heart raced. He had studied patterns and systems over the past days, but this was different. The simulation was dynamic, unpredictable, and filled with variables he could not fully control. Yet he also felt a surge of determination. This was a test of his human qualities, creativity, adaptability, and problem-solving. He examined the holographic city carefully. Some energy lines were overloaded, causing certain sectors to flicker. Water distribution systems were misaligned, leaving parts of the city dry while others overflowed. Vehicles moved erratically, and small robotic assistants were colliding, disrupting the flow of daily life. Rohan took a deep breath and began to think. He remembered the lessons from the neighborhood, observing patterns, anticipating problems, and finding solutions that were both practical and elegant. Slowly, he adjusted the energy flows, redirected drones to assist with water distribution, and reorganized traffic patterns to reduce collisions. As he worked, he realized something remarkable. The simulation was not just a test of technical skill, it was a test of human judgment. Algorithms could manage numbers, but they could not understand the nuances of balance, intuition, and unpredictability that humans brought to the table. Hours passed as Rohan worked, making small adjustments, observing outcomes, and refining his strategies. The women watched silently, their expressions calm but attentive. Every so often, they would exchange glances, nodding subtly as if acknowledging his progress. Finally, the city stabilized. Energy flows were balanced, water distribution was even, traffic moved smoothly, and the robotic assistants operated efficiently. The simulation glowed with a steady, harmonious light. The women stepped forward, their smiles warm and approving. "You have succeeded," one of them said, "not because you followed instructions, but because you understood the system, anticipated problems, and acted decisively. This is the essence of human potential." Rohan felt a deep sense of pride. He had faced a complex, dynamic challenge and emerged successful, not through brute force or simple logic, but through observation, intuition, and creativity. He realized that this was what the women had been preparing him for all along, to understand that humans were capable of achieving balance and harmony even in unpredictable circumstances. But the challenge was not over. The women guided him to another part of the building, where a new simulation awaited. This time, it was larger and more complex, an entire cityscape with multiple interconnected systems, including energy, transportation, communication, and environmental control. This simulation represents a broader challenge, one of the women explained. It is no longer about one neighborhood or one system. It is about interconnection, coordination, and leadership. You must demonstrate that you can think beyond individual solutions and consider the impact of your decisions on the larger system. Rohan studied the new simulation carefully. The city was vast, with multiple layers of activity, and each decision he made affected other systems in unpredictable ways. He began by analyzing the most critical problems: energy shortages, traffic congestion, and resource allocation, and then devised a plan that balanced efficiency with flexibility. As he implemented his solutions, unexpected events occurred. A sudden energy spike threatened to overload the system, requiring him to reroute flows quickly. A robotic assistant malfunctioned, creating a chain reaction that disrupted nearby areas. Water levels fluctuated unpredictably, demanding careful adjustments to maintain stability. Through it all, Rohan relied on his human qualities: observation, intuition, creativity, and patience. He anticipated patterns, predicted outcomes, and adapted his strategies in real time. Slowly, the city began to stabilize, the lights glowing steadily as systems returned to harmony. The women watched, impressed by his resilience and ingenuity. "You are beginning to understand," one of them said, "that human potential is not limited by tools or technology. It is defined by the mind, the ability to see connections, and the courage to act where others hesitate." Rohan felt a surge of confidence. He had faced challenges that were unpredictable, complex, and dynamic, and he had succeeded not because of technology alone, but because of his ability to think, adapt, and lead. He realized that this was the essence of the neighborhood's lessons: to prepare humans for challenges beyond ordinary life. After the simulations, the women guided him to a quiet room overlooking the neighborhood. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the gardens and streets. Rohan sat quietly, reflecting on the day's events. He felt exhausted but exhilarated. He had been tested, pushed to his limits, and had discovered strengths within himself that he had never fully realized. One of the women joined him, sitting beside him on the bench. "Rohan," she said softly, "today you faced your first true challenge. You have shown that humans can adapt, solve complex problems, and maintain balance even in unpredictable circumstances. This is why you are here. You are part of something greater than yourself, a preparation for the future of humanity." Rohan nodded, feeling a deep sense of purpose. He had come to this neighborhood seeking peace and quiet, but he had found something far more valuable: understanding, growth, and the opportunity to contribute to something extraordinary. As darkness fell over the neighborhood, Rohan realized that the challenges would continue, each one pushing him further, testing his abilities and expanding his understanding. But he was ready. He had discovered that human potential was not limited by rules, technology, or circumstance. It was defined by creativity, adaptability, and courage. That night, as he lay in bed, he thought about the simulations, the lessons, and the women who had guided him. He felt a deep sense of gratitude and determination. He had moved into a neighborhood expecting ordinary life, but he had found purpose, challenge, and the first true glimpse of humanity's potential. And he knew, without doubt, that the real challenges were only beginning. Rohan woke up early, as he had every day since arriving in the neighborhood. But today was different. He felt a sense of anticipation mingled with calm determination. Over the past days, he had learned more than he ever imagined possible about systems, patterns, human potential, and the extraordinary women who had guided him. Today, he would face the ultimate choice. The sun rose slowly over the neighborhood, casting warm golden light on the perfectly aligned houses and glowing gardens. A soft breeze rustled the leaves, carrying the faint hum of the tiny hovering devices. Everything seemed normal, yet Rohan knew that normal life had been left behind the moment he had stepped into this hidden world. One of the women approached him, her eyes reflecting both warmth and seriousness. "Rohan," she said, "today you will see the final step. You have proven your abilities, your insight, and your courage. But now the choice is yours. Will you remain here, contributing to our hidden community, or will you take the next step and help humanity expand beyond the world we know?" Rohan's heart raced. He had come to this neighborhood expecting peace, yet he had discovered purpose. He had faced challenges, solved problems, and learned that humans were capable of far more than ordinary life could show. But now, the question was no longer about learning. It was about action. The woman led him through a path he had never taken before. The neighborhood seemed unchanged, yet there was a subtle energy in the air, a sense of focus and readiness. They reached a small, private courtyard where a sleek vehicle waited. Its surface gleamed, and soft lights pulsed in rhythm with the devices Rohan had seen throughout the neighborhood. "This vehicle will take you to the launch platform," she explained. "There you will see the world you may help shape, and beyond that, the challenges that await humanity." Rohan took a deep breath. The reality of the moment struck him. He was about to leave the neighborhood, the hidden society that had welcomed him, to step into a future that no ordinary human had ever experienced. The launch platform was quiet and surreal. Beyond it stretched the city, and in the distance, the blue curve of the earth. Rohan had seen images of the planet from satellites, but seeing it like this, from a place that felt both close and removed, filled him with awe. The sense of scale, the fragility of life, and the vast possibilities ahead combined into a feeling he could barely describe. The women gathered around him. "Rohan," one said, "the simulations, the challenges, the lessons, all of it has prepared you for this moment. Humanity is unpredictable, adaptable, and creative. These are qualities no machine, no alien observer, no algorithm can fully calculate. That is why you are here. That is why you were chosen." Rohan felt a swell of pride and humility. He thought back to the first days in the neighborhood, the welcoming smiles, the mysterious devices, the lessons in patterns and problem-solving. He had grown, learned, and discovered qualities within himself he hadn't known existed. And now he had the chance to use those qualities for something extraordinary. One of the women handed him a small device, a personal control interface linked to the larger systems he had learned to navigate. "This will guide you," she said. "But it is your choices, your judgment, and your ingenuity that will determine success. Remember what you have learned here. Human creativity, intuition, and collaboration are more powerful than any technology." Rohan nodded. "I understand," he said. The weight of responsibility settled on him, but it was accompanied by excitement, courage, and a deep sense of purpose. The launch sequence began. Soft lights glowed along the platform, and the vehicle hummed to life. The women stood back, watching silently, their expressions calm but expectant. Rohan felt the hum under his feet, familiar, reassuring as the vehicle lifted slowly, then surged upward. Through the windows, the neighborhood shrank, then the city, then the continents below. The earth stretched beneath him like a living map, alive with patterns he had never fully appreciated. The beauty, complexity, and potential of humanity became tangible in a way he had never imagined. As the vehicle reached the upper atmosphere, the women's voices came through a communication link. "Rohan, what you carry is not just skill or knowledge. It is the essence of humanity, adaptability, ingenuity, and the courage to act. The choices you make will shape not just your path, but the potential of all humans who come after. Trust yourself. Trust what you have learned. Rohan felt a surge of determination. The lessons, the simulations, the challenges, all had prepared him for this moment. He realized that he was not alone. He carried the guidance, insight, and support of the women, the neighborhood, and humanity itself. Beyond the atmosphere, the vastness of space stretched infinitely. Stars, distant planets, and unknown possibilities shimmered in the darkness. Rohan's heart raced. He understood now that this was not a journey for himself alone. It was a journey for humanity, a chance to demonstrate what humans could achieve when curiosity, courage, and collaboration guided every decision. Suddenly, a display on the interface blinked. It showed the first planet the women had mentioned, a distant world with structures and patterns hinting at challenges and opportunities. Rohan studied it carefully. He saw energy flows, environmental systems, and signs of a habitable ecosystem. But he also saw potential dangers, unpredictable terrain, weather fluctuations, and resource scarcity. He smiled. This was exactly the kind of challenge humans were meant to face. No machine could solve it completely. No alien observer could anticipate the ingenuity, creativity, and adaptability that a human could bring. Rohan made adjustments on the interface, applying everything he had learned. He optimized energy systems, rerouted resources, and prepared contingency plans for unexpected changes. The planet's simulations responded to his decisions, stabilizing and showing signs of harmony. He felt a surge of accomplishment, not because he had followed instructions perfectly, but because he had applied human insight to a complex, dynamic problem. As he worked, he realized a truth the women had been teaching all along. Technology and systems were tools, but humans were the true variable. It was human imagination, intuition, and courage that made all the difference. And he, Rohan, was now part of that legacy. Hours passed as he guided the systems, made adjustments, and explored possibilities. The stars outside the vehicle seemed closer, as if welcoming him into a universe full of challenges waiting to be met. He felt both awe and responsibility. Humanity's potential was limitless, but it required humans willing to think, act, and adapt, exactly the qualities he had discovered within himself. Finally, the vehicle stabilized in orbit above the distant planet. Rohan leaned back, taking a deep breath. He felt a profound sense of fulfillment. He had left a quiet neighborhood expecting peace and solitude. Instead, he had found purpose, challenge, and the chance to help shape the future of humanity. The communication link from the women came alive one last time. "Rohan," one of them said softly, "you have taken the first step, but the journey is only beginning. Remember what you have learned, trust yourself, and know that humanity is counting on the choices you make." Rohan nodded, a quiet determination filling him. He gazed at the planet below, at the endless expanse of stars, and felt the power of possibility. He understood now that humans were not simply participants in the universe. They were catalysts, problem solvers, and explorers. They could think, adapt, and achieve what no machine or alien intelligence could fully predict. With a steady hand, he activated the next phase of the mission. The vehicle descended toward the planet, guided by his decisions, insights, and creativity. Each adjustment he made was a testament to the lessons he had learned in the neighborhood, the guidance of the women, and the innate potential of humanity itself. As the vehicle approached the surface, Rohan realized something extraordinary. The true power of humans was not in technology, systems, or even knowledge alone. It was in the spark of imagination, the courage to act, and the ability to think beyond boundaries. That spark was in him, in the women who had guided him, and in every human who dared to dream. And in that moment, Rohan understood the meaning of his journey. He was not just exploring a distant world. He was exploring the true potential of humanity, unpredictable, creative, and unstoppable. As the vehicle touched down, a soft light glowed across the terrain, signaling the start of a new chapter. Rohan stepped forward, ready to face the challenges ahead, to guide humanity into the unknown, and to prove that the spark of human ingenuity could shine brighter than the stars themselves. And for the first time, he knew with certainty, humanity's future was in good hands.